Alright, welcome in everybody to Blood Rush League Season 3. Now, there's a bit of early on trials that we're going to be having to sort out the qualifier rounds because we do have a couple more than 32 teams. So, yeah, it's going to be Velocity and Theory fighting out in this Doctor Best of One, and a Doctor Best of One is indeed uh, gonna show, I think, some pretty big skill differences if they do. In fact, them, and it's gonna be a head-on straight off the start from Theory, and that's just beautiful to see. But I believe Doctor is going to have some harsh balancing on the Survivor side. So, with that being said, I still believe on this map Ironworks won, and that we will see some pretty decent stage performances as we do actually take the chase onto our Jake here, and I think he's gonna get tagged fairly quickly, but he's looping it well, and you can see I believe that's gonna be Vix. Just doing the average Doctor loop, getting as many seconds as he can out of this, and takes the first tag at 1 minute in, but it's still a very good amount of time for the resources that he's dropped. So makes his way down the map towards 9, and I feel like our survivors at this point are just triple splitting, and we might see 3 generators stop soon. Oh my gosh, I just realized that's a blood favor, stopping all of the all of the pallets from being potentially pre-dropped by Survivor, and yeah, it's going to be activated again as Claudette takes the next chase, and you do see some value of the build coming through, and yeah, Rapid Brutality and Blood Favor is a fairly strong combo, it seems, coming into this, but no, Claudette, no, okay. The Rapid Speed, I think, managed to get that down for Pablo, but it's still a pretty decent start for Survivors, around 90 to 90 seconds before that first down came in. We might see a gen pop, but no, we will not, so it's a Grim coming into play. So, I feel like at this point, maybe Theory has, okay, they've definitely greeted a little bit over greeted for this generator, but apart from that, the start was fairly good, and as long as they don't throw too much, it's still looking like potential outs. I don't know. That's me throwing in my prediction way too early, but Pablo seems to be doing a pretty good job of somehow just like corralling the survivors into the dead spots. We see that first gen pop, Dwight was of course on it, and we'd actually find what Jake is back here, maybe trying to hit that blood favor totem, but unsuccessful. Pablo found the shock and the scream from our Jake, so that's just gonna be 2 really nice resources out of the way for Pablo, and now I think our Jake probably should be going down, of course, after connecting this 9 filler. But that's another gen popping in the background, and suddenly things aren't looking as bright for our Doctor. But I guess given the start and given the amount of slowdown that was brought in, there's no pain resonance. That's what I was saying. Thanks to Grim, of course, but thanks to like the no pain resonance, those gens would of course be flying off that first chase. So yeah, that's a second Grim stat coming in, but I feel like our survivors will be on the reset anyway. Yeah, that does come through. We do see that reset on the Claudette, and pretty much like an entire reset of the pressure around the map. Pablo kind of has to take a step back and try and use his game sense brain to try and find a survivor. That's a Claudette being found, and potential for this to be another fairly short chase. Like Blood Flavor's still in the trial. We have Rapid still in the trial too, and if we have a repeat of what happened before, this chase might not last too long. But oh, that is going to be a tag, and I don't feel like our Claudette makes much because yeah, look at this. Doctor is catching up really quickly. That's Rapid value coming in yet again, securing it down onto Claudette. I don't think they make the window even if they tried, but it's going to be a little bit of a shock coming in. Pablo unfortunately losing 50-50, but winning this one will secure this third down of the trial. But pretty critically, this is not another Grim Embrace, because at this point I feel like with how the generators are still going and the length of these chases, I feel like trying to go for first stage is still a fairly good idea, but Pablo is somehow hanging on to the generators here. I wouldn't be surprised, again, if multiple pop, but I guess they aren't, and Pablo can kind of afford to overextend onto our survivor on the hill. I believe this is going to be Vix here, taking the next chase. Has a Shack pallet available, but really not much else, because that Matchsticks really isn't too good looking if you're chasing against pretty much any killer, so he's going to force to take this Shack and take the vault. Very nicely done though, and probably will take an M1 for this, but in the meantime we see a generator pop in the background and probably an unhook too, as Pablo does have to decide whether he wants to go for a tunnel out onto Claudette or sorry, That's me coughing from something in my throat. Or if they want to go, of course, for something. No, oh my god! Continue the tunnel out to the corner or onto the Jake, and that was a beautiful fake from Jake. You know, breaking LOS and then faking the window vault, making it seem like it could commit to the vault. But that was again very beautifully done. Getting Pablo to swing just buys enough time for a Dwight to come in and just take this body block hit and extend this chase out a little bit more. And again, Jake doing really good window work. Actually, is that Jake? No, I believe it's Dwight. Okay, Dwight did take over the chase. Unfortunately, he won't last again that long, and that is, again, a little bit of a concern because it's Grim Embrace, but Dwight just winning the 50s here. Oh my lord, and just beautifully plays out this RL tower. Unfortunately, again, a little bit of a greed comes in. He still has this bad fillet of gold, but the P-drop comes in. I don't know if that was ping coming through, but somehow Dwight manages to make that as if Zilpha just like kind of cooking a Doctor in this chase, and this is really good time waste again. If they can get the generators done before this third stack of Grim, that could be really huge, and that's another generator done. That's the fourth of the trial, but I just feel like it's not enough time to finish this last generator. So I think this third stack of Grim is going to save the day for our Doctor as this fourth stage is secured. But I feel like our survivors have been in out position for quite a while, even given those multiple hits that came in and the down that resulted from the blood favor rapid. It's just still enough time to put enough pressure on the Doctor to force to force fresh stages, and that's going to be Shaq Power broken as we do find out Jake here taking the next chase around. Shaq does take the outside wall, so again good awareness, tries to play the distance really well, and does not vault in, so it'll just I think be a pretty boring trial coming in. But our Claudette, our Death Hook comes in, and this can really only mean one thing, like that generator in the background surely has to be high progress, because you wouldn't send in your Death Hook unless of course that generator is really close to being finished. And Pablo is making the correct decision here, actually going for the more valuable survivor. This one has two hooks left onto them, the Jake, and it's playing it really well. Jake is doing a good job not getting mind game, keeping the distance again, again just holding the check spots and not fumbling at this really crucial time. I'm just surprised this large generator hasn't popped yet, so maybe our survivor is going for something weird here, but no, it does pop in the distance, and that might just secure this 6 stages for Pablo. Our survivors might go for more though, as they should have been able to count the perks that our Doctors brought in, and no Noed pretty much means that you could go in for a save, but we'll have to see what they do, because the 6-stage performance is still fairly solid. But the reset's coming in, the gates also being open in the background, but it's been okay, it has been open. I was going to say it's going to be 99 for that second reset, but yeah, they are going for this, and it is important to note that Claudette's also Death Hook, so that's probably the survivor we'll see playing the most aggressive for this. But yeah, still securing this 6th stage. It's not really going to mean too much for the survivors, I think, because it's still a fairly wonderful performance. I mean, I say that, but then at the same time, we've seen like one hook differences in the past, or like one fresh differences in the past, and it's kind of insane just how close our sets get. And I think our Doctor has overstepped a bit, but the rapid brutality does mean they're closing in the distance really quickly, and Nicholas might not actually be able to get out. I mean, Raiden is so close. No, is that Raiden? No, it's not Raiden. We haven't seen the entire trial, but yeah, okay, that's 5 stages in hatch, so really wonderfully played from Theory, and I think that's going to... Was it Theory? Alright everybody, welcome back to Blood Rush League Season 1. We're seeing the second half of this Doctor Best of 1 out, and we're gonna have a little bit of a tough win condition if you're on the side of Theory. Actually, sorry, on the side of Velocity, sorry, what am I saying? A little bit of a tough win condition because Theory managed to set a 5-stage 3 fresh result going into the first half of the set. So now, in the second half of this set, now Velocity need to try and I beat that, 5 stages 2 fresh is, well, I mean, what they would be going for on the Survivor side, but that's a fairly fast M1 coming in from Raiden, and Theory again seems to set themselves up fairly well, but I think that Vala does have nice enough distance to play Shaq, but they do unfortunately go down. That is the 50-50, which nobody likes to lose in DVD, and That is an incredibly first down, and very much contrast to the first set. And Ace also taking a hit here, potentially going for the flashlight, say, well, firecracker, whatever it was, is not going to be successful. And Raiden is going to take this first hook like really, really early on, and that is a really big deal for our survivors because they don't have enough gens to really force our doctor to play really aggressive or like play for the gens. They could just like sit here, just patrol a bit, just harass a little bit, and then go back to the hook. There's not really, I think, too much on the side of Raiden, and with that first gen being done, that we know that's doubled, so there can't be too much gen pressure in the background, especially since Ace takes a hit. So, yeah, I think Raiden's looking really, really solid going into this killer set, going into this 5 stages, 4 fresh or 6 stages win condition, and he just has to try and single out perhaps where this last survivor is, but that's not even going to be the case, as Raiden just happy to be a little bit territorial with it in this bot side and just make sure no one's sneaking in for a potential save. And it seems like, oh, I'm completely correct, kind of, that the ace is, oh, not, that's not an ace, that's Jake coming in for the save, but Raiden, oh my lord, your ping is too good, my friend, because that was fairly important swing and a miss coming in, and now Raiden trying to do the shock tech, but Jake beautifully dodges it. And I think, wait, was Jake dodging it, or was that Calm Spirit? I mean, maybe it was Calm Spirit coming in, and that's a trade on the basement as a result. But that little bit of stealth coming in is really, really critical for our survivors, because that bought a good amount of time for this couple of other generators in the background to be done. And unfortunately, though, there's going to be Claudette taking this hit, but there's really not much they could have done. I think if they want to try and stay in this 5 stage, they do have to play a little bit risky. But Claudette is caught a little bit here on this 5 filler, and they're just gonna be going down thanks to Blood Favor. And yeah, okay, things not looking so good anymore. So Blood Favor coming in clutch yet again for for pretty much any killer. Wow, I'm just kind of surprised that it's being used so much, and they barely just get out of the basement in time as this second hook is going to come through. And I just realized something for you all out there. Look at how many gens are left. I actually have 2 gens left. I'm really surprised that happened. I guess our final survivor Ace just been slamming away at the gens in that meantime, and I think that it might come to a halt, unfortunately, because our survivors have to try at least to unhook here. If they don't try and unhook this, it's just such a big deal, and they just have to reset and try something. Because yeah, again, look at this setup that Raiden has around this shack area. Look at this 4gen, like it's bot mid, I guess 4, 3, 5, and 8, and that's a fairly shallow area to patrol if you're Raiden. It's just maybe potentially a bit of a problem when someone slips through, but they're doing a good job of just keeping the lines of sight open. Could see anyone trying to cross over to shack, see anyone, could hear anyone if they're going to hit the generator at this shallow 4 logs. And yeah, again, time ticking by, and the game's just slowly going towards Raiden's favor, as the second stage is probably inevitably going to come through. Our survivors still haven't reset at all, meaning that no save is again going to be imminent. And yeah, things again starting to look a little bit up for Raiden, even though it's only 2 gens remaining. But yeah, Lava going to be unfortunately throwing the pallet, but fortunately gets away from the situation. But again, they're still stuck in this little bit of a stalemate. 3 survivors can only do so much if you're all injured. You kind of have to pre-leave at some point, but they finally go for the reset in the background. We can see that the Ace and the Lava are here, and that's Jake just being completely cut off. But oh my god, they managed to make it all the way to shack, and unfortunately they're going to have to save because Raiden did a good job of zoning. But there's just another chase that Raiden can afford to take, because Jake, if this survivor does get down, I believe that just might be the end of the game, because there's just not enough pressure to facilitate a 5-stage result from here on. But Lava's going to get caught off in the basement, and Raiden gets the body block going into this. There's only 10 to 15 seconds left on that hook timer, and Raiden just doing, again, just body blocking the entrance. There's nothing else Survivor can do about it. I don't know why they're just standing there. They should just go try and bolt the window, but they're just standing there and allowing this to happen, meaning that maybe they've just completely given up. And that's, I guess, going to be the case as a Survivor in the basement dies on hook. I don't know what the hell's going on at this point. But yeah, I think Theory is just going to take this Doctor set fairly nicely. And fairly convincingly too, because again, it was kind of the amount of pressure that the survivor side of Theory did put on with that 5 stage that forced our survivors in this trial to go for some extremely aggressive plays going into this, going into the 2 gen or the 4 gen I should say, because the 4 gen setup, and I kind of just like molded the gameplay and forced the game to slow down tremendously and result in this what seems to be looking like a 4K result, which is incredible, I'd say, on Ironworks, because this map is completely unforgiving for an M1 killer, or specifically an M1 killer with absolutely no movement abilities like Doctor. So that's going to be another threshold picked up for Raiden, and I'm going to try and drag this into the 4 gen, um, but yeah, with Lava being dead too, in the basement, I don't think anything more can be said in this trial. And Theory just takes this qualifiers set, and yeah, they're going to be finding it out in the round of 32, which should be coming up fairly shortly, hopefully. And yeah, it's good to see the competition coming in. I don't feel like our Doctor did anything too badly in the first trial. It's just our survivors played extremely well, and then going into this one, perhaps the survivors might have made a couple of micro mistakes. Just going into the chases, making them perhaps a little bit too short, and then again changing how this entire set will be played out, because again, you can't really go for a 5 stage win condition, I believe, if your first chase is just mounds and mounds shorter than the opponents. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for Theory and Velocity. I hope you enjoyed this video. I mean, Harvey, your caster for tonight, solo by the way. And yeah, we'll see you later for the next video whenever that drops. So bye bye.